Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anthony, Wall Street Trader. It's 4:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. This isn't financial advice. It's educational. Click the subscribe and the bell to be notified when these videos come out. Click that thumbs up if you likey. Share the video with your friends and colleagues if they are interested in the greatness of the graph and the relentlessness of RLC or iExec. Twitter.com link is in that description below the video if you are interested in my intraday updates and thoughts on Twitter. The graph relative to dollar, we're over at 76.21 right now. Still, this is the chart. This looks like a rocket ship. It's about to go bang, but not right now, not today, not tomorrow. I think very soon something will happen. And again, we could have very similar things that happen to a lot of these altcoins. Sometimes you get that delayed fuse before it goes boom. So in the meantime, we're at 76 cents, and we've been talking about that. Before we get too far into it, I want everyone to just take a step back. There's a lot of new people on here. They don't really know where we've been, especially for those that have been tracking this channel since April. A couple things on the chopper, or the hopper, I should say, excuse me. My past entry points, if you go way back to my videos back in April all the way to May, we were picking up little chips of the graph all along the way. And this presentation you've seen in the past, and we would fill it out every time I put in a trade around the point at which I thought was a meaningful entry point, and I would make sure that it was tweeted out as I was doing it. So these are all my entry points on the right-hand side. At 100% of what I feel I have, maximized my risk towards the graph. However, I have already said to everyone that I would go back in around 72 or 73 cents if we go down that low again. Right now, my average cost basis for the graph is 81 cents. It's over here, and it's based on an average of all of these prices. Now, all I can tell you is this. I always follow a couple of one rule. The reason why I look at the graph relative to Bitcoin is because I can take my graph US dollar, which is really what I'm interested in, but then I can break these two pieces out mathematically to see if I know for sure benchmark Bitcoin is going up, then I really have to kind of only focus in on the inner strength of the graph, which is what I call it, is the inner strength. The real terminology is GRT BTC. That's one of the things that we look at on every one of these videos. So just so you know, this is an actual mathematical equation, which is exactly what is showing up here, right? So this is why we look at the graph US dollar, we look at the graph relative to Bitcoin, and we look at benchmark Bitcoin itself. Anyway, so we're going to flip back into the market, and that's just wanted to give you the backdrop. So we're at 76 cents right now, and yesterday we kind of called it, saying that we would probably stay over the 76 cent range. Which is kind of where we're at. We haven't really dipped below, but we are kind of straddling that line right now. I have a feeling we're going to wind up staying over it. I think Bitcoin starts going sideways. We are at 64,000 over that on Bitcoin. We'll go into that a little later. Graph relative to Bitcoin, however, is starting to hit rock bottom here. And it really is driven by the Bitcoin dominance pair. As we mentioned yesterday, we thought and we knew that the Bitcoin dominance would go up, whether Bitcoin rallies or Bitcoin crashes. Today the ETF came out. Bitcoin rallied, which was great. But also, as we know, Bitcoin dominance would go up with it in exuberance. So right now we're kind of hitting right at rock bottom at 186. Any further down, we would be talking about a dip to the following line, which would be around 10% or 15% lower. I don't think that's in store, but it's always a possibility, and you can never discount any of that. So anyway, I'm going to zoom out a little more so you could see the history of this, which isn't a lot. We only go back in Coinbase land till December of 2020. So again, more to watch. We're definitely on this channel down. There's no question about it. But let's see if we can bouncy off this line of support right over here at the 1185. We're literally pretty much right on it. Now let's go over to RLC US dollar and take a look at what's going on here. Also, a lot of, we're literally on the same type of line. We're kind of like right on the line, 432. We were supposedly going to be range bound between 432 and 512 or so. And we are still, but we're starting to break down a little bit. But it's too early to tell because it's just a wick, and we've got some hours to go by for us to see what's really going to happen here. Right now, RLC US dollars around 429. If we do a proper breakdown, 380, 378 is the next point of support. Now, if we go over to RLC Bitcoin, we have broken that red line. I mean, yeah, that was my ex-wife, I think, even though I never really had an ex-wife with red hair or orange hair, just so you know. But we do have a nice line of support around 65.41. 66.73 is where we're at right now. I think we're going to be, handily bouncing off this 65.68 range. We'll see over time, but this is pretty long back here as resistance area, as well as support, as well as breakout point right here once it blew past resistance going straight up. So we're going to keep our eye on this as well. But also, let's go take a look over at, just so everyone knows, I'm going to go back to here. My current position in RLC is all of these entry points here. I got in pretty much at 100%. Still higher than what I paid for it, so kind of stinks. But again, because I'm in it for the long term, I think we're at the low end when it comes to RLC. So I'm pretty happy and comfortable where I'm at right now, and I kind of feel like I can predict the price action on it. So in the meantime, going over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 64,200 and change. And we have definitely started our trend up, as we've all kind of known 5 months ago. Before this whole downturn, when we were over here, I was expecting 80,000. Even when we went down here, I was still expecting 80,000. And, obviously we continue to cling on to this line. I think there's plenty of people that are looking at a similar line than I am. And why? Well, let's go back and take a look. Let's zoom out. Zooming out of this, we can easily see, multiple areas of support starting from way back in 2020, coming all the way up here. So I think eventually we're going to blossom over. I think we're already over that line, as we speak. And, yep, there we are, right over it. And I think that this will probably creep its way all the way up to 80,000. I don't think it's just going to fly straight up to 80, but it will get there. Now, looking over at Bitcoin dominance, like what we talked about yesterday, we are down at around 47.69. Up, I should say. Breaking this channel right now, definitely looking incredibly bullish, based on, I guess, the exuberance that we kind of also knew. This was the better option, even though Bitcoin's dominance is going up. The better option was that it was driven by Bitcoin itself going up. So, it could have been a much different story and a worse situation today. So, we can kind of thank our lucky stars for today's action. Even though the Bitcoin pairs are under pressure in the altcoin space, at least Bitcoin's up to offset it. And how does that make sense? Well, it makes sense because of this. Bitcoin is right over here. This is a major factor. Just because this guy is down, the inner strength is down, this guy's up. Now imagine if the inner strength was down and the benchmark Bitcoin was down, we'd be much further down today on our US dollar equivalents. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have. I think there's a lot of growth inbound coming in for iExec as well as for Graph. I think, overall my price targets for the Graph were 20 on the high end, 9 on the low end, 14 at the mid-range. Now, I did an end-of-year video on this one earlier this year, so I'll put that out. I don't know that we're going to make 14. I don't even know for sure if we're going to make 9. I have a feeling we're probably going to be on maybe the lower end, But you know what? We've been surprised before, and if it moons a lot higher than we think it would, then I will be definitely taking profits. In the same vein, with the graph, looking over at the graph, we have had price predictions in the past also. I'll just have to find them, but I'll put them out there. If you give me 1 second, I'll find them. But effectively, here we go. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. So $1.80, $2.80, and $4.50. Now, again, I think we're going to be probably on the lower end. A lot of delayed reaction. We already had new cipher that blew past my maximum size. So a lot going on right now. This thing is gonna, this thing looks like it could easily moon, but I don't want to say when, because it might be next year. But again, patience, as with every one of the cryptos I cover, is really the key to success. All of the good ones will moon, but the problem is, sometimes it will. You have to keep your head on straight and stay focused with this stuff. Because once you say, you forget about it, it's not going to work, you pull it out, then the next day it winds up going to the moon, and then you start kicking yourself. I'm sure that's happened to many of you in the past. I'm not going to let it happen to me again. I've done that a million times in my past, and I won't do it again. So I'm staying with the good ones, and the patterns are certainly starting to shape up. So this is the place to be, at least for me. Take it easy.